Welcome back to the What's Up Eddie channel, Divine Therapy Sessions, and of course I'm the one and only Eddie. So glad to have you guys back, and these are my Divine Therapy Sessions. In today's Eddie Life Hacks, lesson number 2, and this is one of the most valuable lessons that I can ever teach you, and this stands the test of time. It is the lesson in love. I have 2 stories, and the first one is really the story for me that brings home the lesson in love, and it's quite embarrassing, but I feel as though it needs to be told. So when I was homeless and on the streets and I couldn't get off of drugs and alcohol, and no one at that time period could save me from myself, and I couldn't save myself. Eventually, when I did make the choice to actually get help and I went to rehab, there was the time period of me on the streets and then getting into the facility. Now I'm going to paint a picture for you, and you'll get a good picture of what it looked like for me during this transition. So it was quite embarrassing. In fact, I hadn't showered for days. I'm talking about, it would probably have been like 20 something days at that time period, and I had only one shower before that, and there was still a 3-month period even before that. So, and mind you, it wasn't a normal shower. It was a shower, in a bath or in a sink at a liquor store. So you can imagine what I smelled like. And not only that, I also smelled like booze. I also smelled like the remnants of old meth, and I don't know if you know, most likely you don't, but I did not smell good. I smelled very rancid. So when I actually got to the facility, my body went through this detox. So there was actually a physical detox, right? And there was this physical smell, but on an emotional level, I was like a caged dog, or a dog off the streets. It's the best way to put it. I was scared, and I hadn't been in contact with another person in a very long time, and my faith in humanity had gone at that time period, and I couldn't show myself love, So the first lesson that I got in the rehab facility is that humans, there are good humans on planet Earth. And this lesson that I had learned was that people can show you love and compassion, empathy. And I'm talking about the 30 days that I was there, you guys. I did not smell well. I was passing stuff through my system it was just foul, you know what I mean? And and not only that, it was the emotions that I had, that I felt so broken, but these facilitators, these helpers, these light workers, these amazing people showed me love in spite of all of this. And this is what brought me back to life. Now, I couldn't tell you this at the time period. It wasn't until after the fact, but I had realized in a 30-day span that I had started to show love for myself again. I started to look at myself in the mirror and feel okay about what I was seeing in the mirror. And I was accepting of a hug from someone else. I was accepting of a good word from another person. And I can say this, from a person who could not look another person in the eye. I couldn't tell another person my problem. I couldn't trust another human being. And the only way that I was able to do that is because another person had showed me compassion and love. And that's what I teach to you guys. The only thing that will save us, humanity, save our race, the human race, is love. Love in its entirety. And I don't care what type of way to explain love, because there's many ways to explain, right? There's tough love, there's romantic love, there's the love for your mother, the love for your son, daughter. So there's different ways to explain love, right? But love in its entirety is the answer for everything. This should have been lesson number 1. But it's lesson number 2, and I'm getting it to you guys. Another good story, and I'll end with this one. I remember this back. I tell this story to people that I'm trying to teach, and it has 2 components to it. It's the ability for people to, some people just don't see it because we're not given love, and we don't show love enough. We show aggression, we show anger, we show lust, envy, but we don't show the things that really matter, which is the love portion of all this. And the story started, I was actually in a parking lot. I was sitting there, and there was this guy out front, and I remember it being, so I'm in Los Angeles, right? So it's really hot in LA. I want to say this was about 10 years ago. I think it was about 100 and something degrees, and he's in the front of 7-Eleven, and he's sitting there hunched over. He looks like burnt, like he'd been in the sun for a long time. He's been living on the streets, you can tell, and he's sitting at the door, on the left side of the door of 7-Eleven, and people are passing by him. I would say I watched him for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and people went in and out, in and out. No one paid him any mind. And I thought to myself, wow, that's interesting. And this guy, when I walked up to him, I looked at him, and he had white around his lips, chapped, because he was so thirsty. And you know, I don't know what his story was. I don't know if he had been drinking, or he was a drug addict. I didn't know any of that. All I knew is this man was sitting in 100 and something degree weather, and that he needed help. And he was so lethargic, he couldn't even say anything. So I told him, "Hey, sir, do you want something to drink?" And he said, "Yes, please." And he got up, and I was like, "Here, come with me." And I was like, and then so we go in, and I grab at the time period, I'm grabbing a battery pack of Budweiser. I remember this distinctly. And he goes and grabs a Gatorade. And so I'm waiting in line for him to grab a Gatorade. Or no, so we both go, get what we get, and then he turns to me and says, "I'm hungry, sir." And I said, "Go get a burrito from the shelf, and then I'll heat it up for you." And so he grabs it, and this guy behind me, who had came in before me, he starts to huff and puff and say, "Well, what the heck, man? We're in line." And I was like, and I stopped. And then this is the aspect where you have to not only show someone tough love, but show them the error of your ways. A lot of the times we don't see love, right? He couldn't see that I was helping another person. He saw that guy outside, right? He didn't say anything about it. He didn't do anything for him either. Not that is his job, right? And it isn't my job to go save everyone, and I don't want glory for the story. What I'm trying to say is this. I turned to that guy and I said, "You know what? This guy was sitting outside, starving and parched. He's dehydrated. He needs something to eat. You saw him walk by. You walked by him, but you didn't pay him any mind, did you? You can wait 30 seconds for him to grab a burrito." And so he stopped, and he realized that what he was saying, and he's like, I apologize. And I was like, "Don't apologize to me, apologize to yourself. That's the compassion that you need to show for another human being." And he is old. This man was older than me, and I saw him. He felt like he got put in his place, but what he got taught was, and then we all need to open our eyes to this, is we need to open our eyes to having compassion, empathy, love, because that's the only thing that will save us. That guy, he went out. So he did up that burrito. He went outside, and he didn't even have to say thank you to me. I knew he was hungry and thirsty, you know. But even beyond this is, take this to your family, take it to strangers, friends. Love is enduring no matter where or what you're doing. If there's any lesson that I'd ever teach in this series, is that love is everlasting, and it's the only answer. And if you put love in everything that you do, which essentially is saying if you put God into everything that you do before yourself and before others, the world will change. Humanity will start to evolve. when we get away from the low vibrations, because love is the highest adherence. It's the highest vibration. If we act from a place of love at all times, or most of the time, even if you did it 25% of the time, you would change the vibrations of the planet, because one person with high vibrations spreads it, and you can change, and one person, a light worker, can change multiple people's lives just by living in that vibration. Can you imagine if a group of people did this? So I'll leave you guys with that. I love you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Make sure to subscribe, like, dislike. I'll catch you in the next one, you guys. Bye.